Want to remind everyone of the City of Perry staff's core values: strong work ethic, problem solving, community oriented, shows professionalism and integrity, is a team player, is accountable, and is a good steward. Can I have a roll call, please?
Kelly. Mahler.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Klein. Andor.
Yes.
Next up is approval of the meeting agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
Accept the meeting agenda.
Any discussion on the agenda? Changes? Those? Okay. Roll call, please.
Andor.
Yes.
Klein. Yes. Mahler.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes. Okay, item 2 is the consent agenda. It's the minutes of the January 19th, 2026 regular city council meeting. 5 contract services payments, 4 to Bolton and Mank, 1 to Eocene Environmental for a total of $86,387.65. Claims register and financials of $673,802.57. And a lot of people want to renew their alcohol license, which is good for some of us. So we have Fairway on Willis, Casey's on First Avenue, the Blue Jay Market Event Center, and the Crooked Rail, and Dollar General on First. And the police and fire inspections are complete and on file at City Hall. So could I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, roll call.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Klein. Yes. Andor.
Yes.
Okay, next up is City Administrator Report. Mr. Peterson.
Just a few updates. Spoke about it the last meeting we had in January. Can't believe it's February already, but did have a meeting with one of the property owners out at along the Sumas Avenue project for some easements. So that will help us on timeline as far as getting easements set, getting those plans out, still eyeing March to get those plans out to bid for construction, hopefully this summer into fall. Few staff, myself, I know Josh, a few others got to attend a Dallas County Hospital strategic planning session that we're able to learn more about the services they provide and share some of our insight into the direction of Dallas County Hospital in the future. And it's also notable that there are quite a few partnerships already between the departments and Dallas County Hospital. So that was very good to kind of reinforce that and hear that from them as well. So last week was the Power Hour that the Chamber put on with updates from myself on behalf of the city, the Chamber, Perry Economic Development, and the schools. I also may have recycled that into a Rotary presentation the following day, but really focused on discussion around property taxes and how things work from the assessment to the taxable value down to the exemptions, tax total levy rate, and then how that computes out into property taxes. So I know we're at budget. Property taxes are a large topic of conversation at the Capitol right now. So wanted to just be able to give a overview of how the very complicated system works. I also, just for a little context of budgets and the costs that we see in both of those presentations, I got to go through a 20 to 22-ish year comparison from about 2002 or 3 to 2023, and then some of the numbers from this year's budget on the increases that we've seen on a bunch of equipment, our general operating, like costs just to keep the lights on at some of our facilities, our insurance costs, both health insurance and property and casualty, and then kind of got to highlight how construction costs have also gone up almost 200%, I think, in that time frame. So
What period of time is that again?
about 20 years. So interesting opportunity to be able to highlight some of those things, and just down to I think Josh was able to get me numbers on, I think a just a single axle plow truck has gone up about 250%. From when we bought one in 2003 to what Josh got a quote for this year. So things are definitely more expensive. So it's good to have that opportunity to show the power of the dollar when it comes to that large equipment and things we look at on an operating basis. So. And I'm happy to send that presentation out if you guys would like to see it, or I can also just do a one-on-one presentation and nerd out on stuff too.
And,
Up to you guys.
and the power hours on our YouTube.
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Any other questions for me? All right.
Okay, thank you, Sven. Mayor Council comments. I wanted to thank Lindsay for putting on and scheduling the Power Hour. If you hadn't been to it, I would recommend it. It's a quick, easy way. Over lunch, you can learn a lot about what's going on in the city, the school, and around town. So it was very well done, very quick, but stayed on schedule, and it was well done. Council have any comments?
Just want to remind everybody that is coming up this Saturday. Well, sounds like the weather's going to be decent.
Yeah.
For a change.
Okay, nothing else. We'll move on to open forum. Just want to remind everyone, if you're here to talk about one of the public hearings, that we'll wait and have you talk during those instead of coming up during open forum. So, but open forum speakers are asked to step up to the microphone, state their name and address for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes to address the council. So if there are any open forum requests, please come up. Okay, being none, we'll move on to our public hearings. Item A is a public hearing on proposal to enter into an essential purpose loan agreement. The city proposes to borrow $6,775,000 for payment of costs pertaining to a lot of projects we're doing around town. They are all listed in our packet here. And it'll be in agreement with authority on section 384.24A of the Code of Iowa. So could I have a motion, please, or I guess not need a motion. We'll just open the public hearing. Who wants to start presenting on that one?
All right. I was just trying to jot down some of the projects, so I might stare at Susie to help remind me exactly. So on this general purpose loan, essential, this includes our match for the Sumas Avenue project, the intersection, the trails and sidewalks along 18th Street in Iowa that we received a grant for, and then also a estimated budget for trail from 18th along Willis out to 141 to connect to that intersection and other improvements out there. What am I?
Downtown project.
Downtown project, and then
Airport.
taxiway extensions. So kind of a grouping of projects to hopefully get a good interest rate.
Mhm.
I would say most of this is coming from TIF revenues, a little bit from local option. Questions?
Questions? Any other comments?
Write it over.
Okay, if nothing, we will close item A, public hearing on essential purpose loan agreement. Okay, item B is a public hearing and proposal to enter into a general purpose loan agreement. This is for $405,000. It's for the purpose of paying for a snowplow, and it has to be accounted for separately or differently, is my understanding. So that's why it's pulled out separately. So we will open the public hearing on this. Sven.
So this is for the snow removal building out at the airport. And just because it's fits within a different category of type, that's why it is a line under a different category as far as essential versus general corporate.
So this is out at the airport,
Yep.
not in town.
The discussion, comments? Okay, we will then close item B, public hearing for the general purpose loan agreement. Move on to item C, public hearing on the proposed amendment to the City of Perry zoning ordinance. This is for parcel out at the industrial park. It's going to be changed from Egg District to Light Industrial District. This is where we had to annex a piece of property into the city limits. We agreed to bring it in at Egg, and now we just need to change it over to Light Industrial to match the rest of the property. So we'll open that public hearing right now.
And this is the Semper Fi piece?
Yep, this is just kind of cleaning up that awkward DOT right of way from the 80s, 90s, something like that. So
Okay.
shout out to Dewey for writing that legal description.
That was a long one.
Or Nick, well, who knows?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I do have just a general layout of that area, but if you guys are familiar with kind of the corner section that we're talking about, I do have some slides for the next couple public hearings, so I can certainly. Oh, thanks, Chris. I will share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah. There we go.
There it is.
Okay. So yeah, so this is the area that we have annexed in from the DOT right of way. So that red sliver of Eddie's piece that you see in the northwest corner was a part of that right of way. So we know that when we annex property in, it comes in as ag. So we're just going through the rezoning to make that little sliver match the remainder of what Eddie's parcel is today, which is light industrial. And then here's just kind of a scanned layout that Liz had included in the previous documents through the annexation process.
Okay.
Thanks, Molly.
And having it as light industrial will allow us to construct the roundabout or whatever there.
No, this is purely to match what was annexed to the rest of the parcel, which
Okay.
has been light industrial for a long time. So just wanting to make sure that the strange right of way piece and zoning all worked out once that right of way was annexed. So
Okay.
not-
And the rest
not-
of that parcel is
is already been light industrial.
light
So
industrial.
it's just to match them. Really nothing to do with the intersection.
Okay. Just to make it match.
Other questions, comments? Okay, we'll close that public hearing then. Item D, public hearing on proposed amendment to City of Perry zoning ordinances. This is going from agricultural to residential multifamily. And it's for a piece of property out on Iowa Street. So I will open that public hearing. Molly, you want to start us off?
Yes, so a little bit of background on this project and the next project. And I'm not sure if Sven maybe had touched on this when we set the public hearings, but both of these projects are going to be applying for low-income housing tax credits through the state of Iowa. So a requirement per the application is to have the property that they're interested in developing be rezoned appropriately prior to application. So that's why you see a couple rezones tonight. There is a total of 3 projects that I know of that will be submitted to the state for low-income housing tax credits in Perry. It is unlikely that all of them will be awarded unless the state wants to be extra nice for us this year. But it is likely that only one will be awarded, but because it is a requirement for the parcel to be rezoned prior, that is why we are taking these two tonight. The third one that will be submitting an application is already, the site that they're interested in is already zoned residential multifamily, so that's why you don't see it on the agenda. But for this parcel specifically, it's located just south of Iowa Street and just north of Highway 141, directly west of the retention pond project that we have recently completed. Currently, it's zoned agricultural, and they are proposing to rezone it to residential multifamily. And the applicant is Woda Cooper Companies. So if you guys can kind of remember when we did the rezone process for JBS, we always like to look at our comprehensive plan to kind of help guide us on how to make an educational decision on what we should rezone a specific area to. So we currently use our 2030 comprehensive plan future land use map, which is what you see in front of you. And the area that we're talking about now is kind of highlighted in that aqua blue color in the southeast area. And you can see that's in kind of a pink zone. So that pink zone is called an activity center future land use. So the definition in our comprehensive plan of what an activity center is a places where commerce as well as employment occurs. Activity centers are places where Perry's identity is most visible. So you can see along gateways and corridors like Highway 141, and entertainment and cultural opportunities are most accessible. Activity centers can include industrial employers, institutions like Dallas County Hospital, churches, higher density residential areas, and even community athletic parks. Activity centers are intended to be places where uses are mixed together rather than segregated. And so in the activity center future land use, it is split up into about 5 different districts. So this area in particular is located in the East Gateway District. So there you can kind of just see from the comprehensive plan, the map of the East Gateway District, and then that specific parcel highlighted. And it specifically calls out in the East Gateway District that the East Gateway would also accommodate well-designed multifamily developments that are multi-floor apartments or condominiums in density and style. It is recommended that any multifamily development should be located off of a major street, for example, Willis Avenue, and adjacent to parks or trails when possible. So when kind of looking at a comprehensive plan and how this is broken down, I do believe that what the applicant is proposing is appropriate for the area, given that it specifically calls out for multifamily residential in this future land use, but also specifically in this district, and that it's also located along a pretty major corridor like 141, and I would say Iowa Street as well, and also sits abutting against that new kind of detention pond park that we have. And then here's just a conceptual layout. Again, this is just conceptual, so if the project were to get awarded, we would go through the site plan process with the applicant. But what they have shown here is an apartment style building that faces along 141, and then kind of 2 townhome rows that face inward towards the parking lot. And I believe in this concept specifically, they're thinking of doing about 47 units with a mix of like 1 to 3 bedroom type of style apartments. And then here are just some conceptual elevations. And then here's an example of a real project that the applicant has completed elsewhere. So we would recommend this for approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission did move this forward with a 3-3 vote. I did not get any letters specifically calling out any concerns or anything against this project. I did get one letter that was pretty general for throughout the city of Perry, that they were just kind of against affordable housing projects in the community. Again, I did not specify this project specifically. I do believe Liz included that in your council packet for you to reference. But if the applicant is here tonight, I would welcome them to the podium to maybe explain anything I missed or anything further that they would like to talk about with the project.
Good evening. My name is Barry, a Countess. I'm with Wood Cooper Companies. As Molly stated, Perry looks good the eyes of IFA. We are based out of Columbus, Ohio. We have been in business for 35 years. We've been in Iowa since 2018, and we're looking for our 10th project of this nature. We just completed one in Des Moines called Alley Landing Apartments, which we're just thrilled to do. It was very well received from the city. And this area, Dallas, Polk County, is hot. We know you have a sausage plant that's coming, and it caught our eyes pretty quick. We've always kind of been looking in this area, Ames and Place West. But anyhow, we're here tonight just asking and hoping and praying that you'll give us a favorable vote to do the rezone. The rezone doesn't mean that we're going to build tomorrow. The rezone just means, as Molly stated, that it's a requirement now that it has to be zoned prior to application. What you're looking up there now, that's when we completed. It was our first one in Iowa. That's in Cedar Rapids, called Anderson Crossing. And that's a two-phase property and property leased up before we had it built. So we believe the market is strong here. We believe the rents are good, and we just would love to be part of your community.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I got a couple questions, Barry.
Yes, sir.
What's your address?
Oh, where I live?
Yes.
459 Nick Street, Pataskala, Ohio.
Okay, okay, great. Right now, my first question would be, like Molly stated, for this affordable housing, state's probably not going to approve all of the projects. Would you only be going forward with affordable housing, or would you maybe consider living wage housing if you didn't get approved for the subsidies by the state?
Well, we're in business to house folks, sir, and we have a portfolio of about 400 properties. One of them is market rate. We do the affordable piece, the workforce piece, as I like to call it.
Sure.
But we're always looking in the areas, sir. If someone brought us a project they thought could work, we're all ears. We are a developer, we're our own general contractor, and we are our own management company. We're long-term owners. Property we just finished in Des Moines, 90% of the workforce was all local folks within, not all, well, local to Iowa. Most of them came from the county and just south. You have a big workforce here, and that's what we bring to Perry as well.
Thanks, Barry.
I know this part of the IFA requirements and rent restrictions. Do you have an idea yet of what a range of rents might be for your 1 to 3 bedrooms? I do. In ranges, the 1 bedrooms as of today would be between $685 and $1115 a month. The 2 bedrooms would range from $810 to $1325 a month. And the 3 bedrooms would be from $930 to $1526 a month. I know that the program, it starts out with low income housing. They're affordable, folks. I mean, these folks have to go out and make a wage. They have to pay these rents. Our residents pay everything but trash collection. So this is truly workforce housing. The lower rents here are just, it's a strategic move that it's called the scoring process. If you cater to a lower income, a small band of your units, it's a point advantage, and that's what drives the developers, because Iowa is a very, very, very competitive process. And I don't know if I said very enough. They'll fund 10 projects, 7 of them will compete in a tiebreaker where the scores are flat and they pick on who did the least amount of credits, who got the deal the last time, and this and that. And the developer cap is real, it's community cap. And Perry's set up to get 2 projects this year. That's what they will get if those 2 projects score high enough. So the 3 folks that are trying to get a bite at the apple, only 2 could get a bite, and even that's not guaranteed.
This is based on the affordability of the projects that you're building. Is that part of it?
Pretty much, sir. What we required with the credits is that it used to be just 60% of the AMI, area median income. Now that has switched. The years have moved up a little bit. I think we are up to we're still in the 60 band range. So I forget the question, sir.
Oh, well, I'm a ma'am, but anyway.
Okay, ma'am, my eyes are horrible.
But anyway, what percentage of your project would be the lower rent area?
Very small. See, out of the 47 units, 2, 5, 12 units would be the lower bay.
And the others would be market rate?
No, other one would be portable, under 60% of the AMI.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
How many of these, you said 10 in Iowa since 2018? Is that correct?
9, this would be number 10.
This would be number 10. So how many total do you guys own and operate?
It our portfolio grows constantly. We're around 400 right now.
Okay.
And we're based out of Ohio. We're down as far as Florida. We're in Wisconsin. Of course, we're in Iowa, and we're on the eastern seaboard as well.
Okay. And out of those 9 projects that you have completed in Iowa, do you guys still own and operate all of those?
Oh, absolutely. And 7 of them are operational. One in Davenport is under construction, and we're going to break ground in Newton, Iowa, hopefully this April.
And your occupancy rate?
Our portfolio stays about 95%. Alley Landing is in lease up, so it kind of throws it out right now.
What do you think your renters would rate you at? You think are your renters happy with the job that you're doing?
Well, Councilman Mailer, if I'm saying that right, sir, that's an interesting question. We estimate about 40,000 people are living under a Woda Cooper roof as we speak. You'll find on Yelp, people complaining every once in a while. We looked it up. Well, we look it up all the time. Less than 0.001% of our clientele have not expressed any disappointment in us. We pride ourselves on keeping our residents. We just said Woda Cooper companies is Jeff Woda and David Cooper. We report to them. It's a very flat organizational chart, and we're all held very, very accountable. I've been in this business for about 35 years, and I know that Woda Cooper sets the mark, just not because I work for them. I know they set the mark, and we have good competitors that do good work, but I think we're the best at what we do.
Thanks, Mayor.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Okay. Okay, if not, we will close public hearing number D, and that moves us to public hearing E, which is proposed amendment to the City of Perry zoning ordinances. Is to change the zoning from light industrial to residential multifamily, and it's for a property down on West Third Street. So we'll open that one. Molly?
Yes, so this site is located at 602 West 3rd Street. It's at the kind of northeast corner of West 3rd and Center Street. Currently, the site is zoned light industrial. We are proposing for it to be rezoned to residential multifamily. Again, this is another similar affordable housing project, and the applicant is Meridian Development. So again, we'll kind of walk through the same process. So we'll use our future land use map to kind of guide us on what an appropriate rezoning land use would be. So you can kind of see the aqua color again. And it is located also in a pink area, which is an activity center. So kind of briefly to skim through this again, activity centers can include industrial employers, institutions like the hospital, churches, higher density residential areas, and athletic parks. Activity centers are intended to be places where uses are mixed together rather than segregated. And that is quoted as the definition from our comprehensive plan. So like I touched on earlier, activity centers in our comprehensive plan are broken down into about 5 different districts. So this area is in a different district. So it's the First Avenue Corridor District. So there's a map of that you see in front of you, and then that parcel specifically highlighted in that corridor. And the kind of definition and breakdown for this corridor listed in our comprehensive plan says that to the west of First Avenue, the area has a mixture of commercial, industrial, and single-family uses with some vacant land and redevelopment opportunities. This neighborhood is reflective of how some parts of the community may evolve with a mixture of uses even within the same block. As redevelopment occurs here, the intent is to transition the neighborhood into more of a residential neighborhood with fewer commercial or industrial uses off of the First Avenue or Willis Avenue corridors. The neighborhood's proximity to Pattee Park, the Raccoon River Valley Regional Trail, and downtown have the potential to make it a desirable residential neighborhood. Again, that is directly quoted from the comprehensive plan. And then this is just a conceptual layout. So like I stated earlier, if the project were to move forward, we would go through the site plan process and bring that to you guys for review. But here is kind of their layout broken down. So the north side is the left side of your screen. So it is tilted a little bit. But I believe with this layout, they're proposing about 36, 37 units in total, kind of a mix of like a townhome style, an apartment style, and I believe 2 to 3 bedrooms is what they are proposing for the apartments. And then here are some conceptual elevations. So we did take this to planning and zoning. It did move forward with a 2-to-1 vote. So the one individual that voted against it, their main concern was due to the traffic of the Quick Star being close with the semi-traffic kind of overnight truck parking. They had concerns with that. They also had concerns with the proximity of it to the baseball fields. They take their kids to the baseball field during the summer, and remember that it does get super busy. So they just kind of had some concerns with like overall increase in traffic with that area, which was their reasoning to vote against this project. And I did get also a letter from a neighbor or a budding property owner from a Mr. Webker. He does own a business that abuts against this property. That was included in your packet, I believe, as well. And if he is here tonight, I will also let him kind of expand on what his concerns were with the project. But we would recommend this for approval, given it following the guidelines of the comprehensive plan. But happy to answer any questions, and we'll kind of open it up to the developer to go over anything I missed, and if anybody in the public has any comments.
You'd like to talk?
And state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Randy Shima. I am the owner and manager of Meridian Development. I'm also president and co-owner of Elite Diamond Development, based out of Boone. My Meridian Development is out of Clive, and Brian, of course, is with Elite Construction and Elite Diamond Development, which is a consortium from Boone. And we have joined forces with a gentleman by the name of Kelly Harabi, who is located out of Kansas City. He is considered, they don't have really I think a designation for it, but he's been in it for 25 plus years. He has well over 100,000 units that he's done in this and affordable housing. And so we joined forces and located this particular parcel thanks to Manny Radio. And we are excited to do this project. Now, please notice we do have multiple buildings. This here is just a conceptual elevation that we were looking at for the various buildings. These are, of course, larger buildings than some of the ones that we're going to be putting up. It'll be a 36 unit project. Of that 36 units, we currently have 8 townhomes that are affiliated with this, along with the other 2-story buildings that are somewhat of an apartment style. What we haven't shown on this, and we definitely have the room to do it, we're going to do a community building, which is going to house of course, the placement advisor, and there will be, of course, facilities for the community to enjoy with it. That will be shown in part of the concept as well, where we're looking close to that parcel, right where the sewer easement is at this time. But that could change as well. We're still working on that. It's going to be something we are going to be all 100% affordable. So there won't be any market rate units in this. And don't really have anything else to say other than that. Is there any questions you may have?
I got a couple for you.
Lay it on.
Randy, can you state your address for me, please?
I'm sorry.
Your address, where you reside?
Where do I reside?
Yes, sir.
I'm in Clive.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And
I'm not Boone.
Boone? Okay, great. Same question I posed before. If you were not chosen by the state to get subsidies, would that jettison your project? Would you be done that, or would you consider then building possibly some living wage apartments there?
This project, of course, is set up for, receiving the credit. So I can tell you that, we have the scores, and the scoring on this project is very high.
So no.
So we're looking at, I think it's gonna be very successful.
Next question. Do you guys maintain ownership and operation of your properties?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all.
In its entirety.
Okay. And how many other properties do you have
Us
in
personally,
Iowa? Let's talk about Iowa first. How many do you have in Iowa?
we have not done. a
Okay.
light tick
This is a
project
new
before.
partnership.
So Kelly is the one that has the experience. He will be the co-developer.
Yep.
We're gonna be the co-developer with him.
Yep.
And then we are going to have, Elite Construction will be doing the construction for it with an oversight by, Yeah. Right, Alton Charter out of St. Louis will be our oversight GC for us, since this is our first project.
First project together or first project for each of you as,
We build multifamilies.
Okay.
Dwellings. 25 years.
cool.
Both. We just partnered up as a partner to do multifamily. Where we have, we built 10 spec homes and custom homes this year. In Boone, we've done multifamily, Brandy's developed and done multifamilies in there, and we just kind of came together, find the forces together to all come together.
Awesome. And
So I
so,
built probably close to 700 homes, done retail strip centers, 5 multifamily projects that were all market rate. So
and do you
I've got
retain
30+ years of experience in real estate.
those 5 projects with multifamily? Did you retain ownership and management of those?
Did what?
Retain ownership and management of those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all of it.
So you do have some ownership and management. We're not just building houses and selling them. We got,
Right.
so we know how to take care of people.
Man,
We have a property management. Lytech certified company. Manage the properties with us.
Okay. And what's the name of that company?
Beacon.
Beacon out of Omaha.
I think that's all I have right now.
Thank you.
And I think with this duo as well as Barry, we've also had the conversation around, whichever way these development proposals go, looking at the possibility of market rate developments as well. So, I think great opportunity to get some partners, no matter which way the mop flops with scoring with the state. I think after P and Z, we exchanged information and
We've also talked about with the workforce tax credits and stuff. We've also talked to the city about infill lots and stuff like that. But with this development, with your question earlier, are we gonna, if we don't get the Lytech, are we still gonna be able to come to town and do stuff? We have worked with the city on other stuff that would not work here if we couldn't get the rezoning for anything. So we will come into town. We do build spec homes. We just bought 3 lots in Ogden. We're local. We've bought spots throughout Jefferson, Boone, Ogden, Stratford. We've worked with other people with the workforce tax credits. We are buying locally to do with kind of single family dwellings, whatever the market studies consist of.
Who's we?
Me and my brother.
Not we, you and, okay, I got it. Okay.
Randy's involved.
I thought that's what
in development,
Okay.
so he's on the development side of it, the lady on the development side of it.
Yep.
Me and my brother Joey are owners of Elite Construction. We do the spec homes, custom homes.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So I had 17+ years of experience in the Des Moines metro area on construction. So I did multiple developments there, along with building well over 500 homes over 17+ years.
Awesome.
So a little bit of background on that.
Awesome.
And since I have somebody who can take that over and I am on the age up, I'll let him do it.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to come up? Mr. Webker?
Copies here.
That's fine.
While I pass that out,
Name and address, please, too.
Eddie Diaz is gonna wanna chime in
Okay.
at some point before we wrap this up.
Okay.
My name is Brett Webker. I own a business near this property. Here to propose the request to rezone 602 West Third Street from light industrial to multi-family residential. I believe this change would create serious problems for residents, business, and city. This is the wrong place for housing. This area is on light industrial. Nearby businesses use trucks, equipment, and operate different hours. Putting an apartment building next to these uses does not make sense. People living there would surrender by noise and activity that are normally for industrial, but not for homes. Noise, traffic, and safety problems. Industrial areas are loud and heavy traffic. People living in apartments here would likely complain about noise and activity that could lead to pressure on businesses that are already following the rules. Adding apartments would also mean more cars, more people walking, and more parking problems. This area was designed for trucks and work vehicles, not families and children. Health, environment concerns. Industrial areas allow exhaust, dust, and other emissions. These may be acceptable for business, but not good for people living nearby. Placing home, especially for the family and children this close to industrial activity, raises health concerns. This is not a safe or smart place for dense housing. This sets a bad example for the future. This rezoning is approved, it sends the message that the industrial land can slowly be turned into housing. Perry needs industrial land for jobs, businesses, strong tax base. Once this land is changed to residential, it's very hard to change back. Harm to property values and longtime residents. Adding more low-income apartment housing in this area could lower the nearby property values, hurt the homeowners, business owners who have invested here for years. Too many rental units can lead to empty apartments, weaker housing. Longtime residents expected the zoning to stay stable. Better places exist for housing. Affordable housing is important, but it should be built in a safe, appropriate location. Industrial areas are meant for not dense housing. Good planning means placing homes where people can live safely and comfortably. For all these reasons, safety, health, planning, and long-term impact, I ask that this rezoning request be denied. I respectfully ask the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council to vote no. Thank you for listening. Serving the city of Berry.
Questions, comments for Brett?
Question about rezoning. If this rezoning, if you guys vote on this and it switches. Right now, they're on this property. There is storage. It's zoned for what it's zoned for right now. So what they're saying is it might not go through possibly. So if you change this to residential, that's, and let's say the landowner that's selling the property now decides to say keep it. He would be then forced to not be able to rent those storage units out. Because it's not zoned for a business like that.
So that would be considered a kind of grandfathered use for the time being, where a non-conforming structure and it could continue that use. The property owner, if it does not switch hands, could also ask that it be rezoned back to light industrial, and the Plan Zoning Commission can consider that, and that would then, if moved forward from Plan and Zoning, would come back to City Council.
Was there any other complaints that were brought to your attention?
On
Because
this property specifically,
Yep. Was there anybody else that reached out to you?
I did not get any other complaints for this specific address or project.
Discussion with Kyle Baxter about agreeing.
I think
Just want to make sure that everybody's,
Yeah.
that you're
So
bringing all of.
that's
the
why-
information to-
Yeah, so that's why I asked about this property specifically, no, but tax credit projects, low income housing tax credit projects in general,
Mhm.
yes, I did. I think generally not for it, but I think with at least one of those conversations, there's a bigger picture brought forward that I don't know if that changed opinion or whatever, but they were both cordial conversations.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Eddie, up next.
Can you hear me okay, Dirk?
Yes, you can.
All right. First, apologies, I couldn't be there in person. And a quick disclaimer, I do think everybody should have housing options, and I'm not anti-development. My questions are just to help understand what a path forward is. So first question I have is, what kind of safeguards are there in place for these units to have high quality construction that may not have taken place with previous developments here in the community? So in other words, what are we going to do to assure that these developments are insulated appropriately and just having fewer issues than some of our other areas?
Hey, Eddie, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Are you speaking for you? If so, can
Ah.
you state an address
Yeah.
or if for PED, can you say you're speaking for PED?
I am not speaking for PED. Don't get me in trouble. I'm speaking for myself.
Well, so that's why I want.
Yeah, just for myself. 12606 K Drive, Perry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, just look and see what safeguards are in place to make sure that these builders are building quality units for residents.
I am Jermaine with Elite Construction. But when we go through this process and fill out the applications and stuff to do these light tech projects, to mark boxes and check off for points and stuff, and to be in the light tech project, it has to be in the project for 15 years. So they set a standard, like triple pane windows, bricks on the outsides of the places, siding and stuff, insulation. They really care about Energy Star and efficient stuff. So you get points for all that when you score. So if you build lower income, stuff, it's checked by the state and the government on all boxes checked off to make sure you're qualifying for everything you put in there. And you have to put quality stuff in there because it's a government ran program for 15 years. So they want great product too. So the development can withstand years of durability.
Do they require 2x6 or is 2x4 framing? Okay.
That'd be-
2x6.
But, all the architect specs will be through the architect.
And just to add to that, Eddie, I think without saying, I believe I may know which historic project you might be referring to, but believe, and Molly might be able to point me in the right direction. I believe now we're on the 2023 building code.
Mhm.
So, there's a vast difference between the building code from historic projects to what development looks like today, not only for these proposals, but any proposal for market rate homes, apartments, duplexes, townhomes.
Yeah, I think you do know where I'm talking about, and that's reassuring. Who are the local folks So the state folks have some accountability from the local team. Who are the people that oversees that? The builders are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I think that'd be Molly and Sparky primarily.
Okay. Second question I had, so it looks like there's 3 applications. Is it, sounds like only 2 are present. Also sounds like they're unlikely to make 3 awards, but possibly 2. Checking to see if there's anything the city or the council can do to try to reduce it to just 1. Like we're happy with 1, but that's about our
Yeah.
comfort level, and I'm speaking for myself, if that's a possibility or not.
So as I understand the program, I'm gonna look at the folks that have done this. When we talk about 2 projects, my understanding is that, well, so there's 2 different buckets of project funding or opportunities. One would be family housing development, which I think all 3 of the projects being proposed are. And then there's the senior route. As I understand it. So,
You can either do a senior project.
so when we talk about, or when it was mentioned that we could be awarded 2 projects, it's my understanding that it would only be 1 from each category. Barry's giving me the side eye and he probably has experienced a lot more. Also, I think,
Contradict this gentleman,
or me.
or you, yes. But our understanding is that the community cap is for 2 projects, whether they be family or senior. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on this. And then there's a developer cap where, you know, you can only get so many credits. So again, Iowa is a very, very competitive place, and IFA is trying to spread those credits statewide, and that's how these caps come into play. If you were in a rural county, then you could only get 1. But since you're not in a rural county, you can get 2.
And again, I think to the point of how competitive it is and trying to spread throughout the state.
13 projects.
Yeah, I think I would be extremely surprised if Perry would have 2 awards to do different developers with the size of our market. So
Either one of us.
that's possible too.
You know, it all depends on, you know, what project is turned in and how they're on the board.
All right, last question I had, I know I've taken enough time, but checking to see, and Sven, you alluded to maybe some conversations have already started taking place about marketplace, market rate, housing. Is there any future plans with any other firms to try and look at some of these? And is the housing needs assessment something that we've looked at to try and identify what the needs are for those?
Yes, we are in conversations on other housing projects or developments, whether that's with these folks here, just kind of on the side of this specific, these proposals here. Then there's 1 or 2 others that we're in conversations with for, you know, future as we're seeing our jobs come back and opportunity there. And then, yes, I think, you know, our housing needs assessment, both our physical housing needs assessment and just the pulse on housing needs, really is across the board with affordable to market rate. And I think the rents that Barry mentioned it's quite a range, but honestly, probably fall within the market for Perry as it is. Not that I have a perfect thumb on the pulse, but, you know, I think across the board, whether it's affordable housing or market rate housing, I think all of our housing stock needs a bump up as far as quantity and quality. So this is an opportunity, you know, as part of other conversations I've had, I think there's a big difference between where we are today looking at these projects and development opportunities versus 10 years ago. Where in the last 10 years, we've had, I think, around 75 new homes and duplex units, somewhere in there. And then about 60 new market rate apartments, Perrywood apartments, as well as 25 to 30 new units in downtown with upper story housing redevelopment. So overall, I think we're in a much more balanced position today than we were 10 years ago. And I think for mayor, council, everybody, these projects are and developments are, really not push, but led by the developers finding the locations and doing their research. None of these proposals were sought out by the city in the work that we're doing around housing. So just want to make that known. I think I've heard there's a list, but I think the list as far as scoring and where Perry would hit, one of the criteria is that we haven't had a awarded development in the last 10 years. So Hammond Bell Apartments and Willis Avenue Apartments makes me feel old, 10 years ago or more. So as far as scoring goes with the state, that puts us higher on the list of places to look at for opportunities like this. So we had to figure out, Molly and I had to figure out what was going on when it came November, December, and we started getting a bunch of calls and emails from a number of folks on land availability and opportunities around town.
Okay, anyone else want to address council? Jason?
DC Barfield and Perry. Just a couple of questions, I guess, for everybody to consider. And I think Eddie kind of alluded to this too. It's hard to articulate. Perry definitely needs some low-income housing. I don't know what the specific needs are, but I think we need to be conscious about attracting low-income housing versus supplying needs that the city needs. And I think that's kind of the balancing act that everybody needs to consider. And then the other thing that Molly brought up, is we identify these activity centers. This is really an opportunity to shape Perry's identity and profile. So careful placement of where we place these low-income housing and what they're going to look like. Maybe not necessarily now when they're brand new, but 10 and 15 years from now, really can have an impact on the community as a whole long term, and what our future, what our identity looks like. So I don't know where the third option was proposed, but both of these two areas are high profile areas. We got one by the park, we have one right on 141. So just consider that as we're considering these entire projects. And I'm not necessarily saying that they're not bad, but my concerns are when both of these two were asked if they were going to move forward, if it was only a market rate development, both said no. I don't know that that's community involvement we want. I don't know that it's not, but it would feel much better with somebody that was committed to a project that was going to make sense for the community and not just for the bottom line. Been here my whole life, not going anywhere, so I just care about the community. But we make these decisions that are going to shape, the overall profile of Perry. So we consider what that looks like.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
I have one question for you, DC. What do you think about the Willis Avenue apartments? Because those are low income also.
Yeah, I think, boy, if I knew I was getting called back up, I would never step. I think they serve a need. I think that's the evaluation that really needs to take place is, are we gonna continue to serve? How much is that need and what's
Yeah.
the best way to serve that?
Well, I was gonna say, in Hamlin Bell is a controlled rent
Yeah,
situation as well, and it's right on Willis Avenue. You know,
it is.
are these negative to the neighborhoods that they're in, or are they neutral
I,
or
I think
okay?
they can be done in a way that they're a positive impact. I think both of those have had some positive impacts. I think they look nice currently.
Mhm.
I would just want to make sure that the people that are taking part are equally invested in the overall community
Mhm.
appearance.
Sure.
You know, that's a big part of it. And again, it's one avenue to supply housing needs for what the community needs. Another to overbuild that need. And I don't know what that need is, so
Yeah.
I can't articulate on it, but I think that's something you guys should really dive into is what that need is. And it's a whole nother thing to overbuild that need and then start to attract
Mhm.
lower.
Barb, can I answer that question from my perspective? I know you asked JC, but I have an opinion.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good example of what can be done well and what could have probably done better. I think the Hamlin Bell, when you drive by it, is quality on the outside, and if you go inside, it's pretty high quality as well. The ones on the Willis Avenue, I think the design of them made it so that it's much more easier for the lawn to serve as a storage area sometimes, and so there's not a lot we can do once they're built because tenants will do what tenants want to do. But I think when you guys get to the zoning or the development agreements, anything you can do to ensure that the builders are looking for the aesthetics on the outside as well would be helpful because Hamlin Bell did it pretty well, I think.
Just want to make one of.
Say your name again, just real quick.
My name's Barry Accountis. I'm Pataskla, Ohio. Sven, as you're saying, the scoring's been tight. I've been saying it. After tonight, you won't have these on your agenda for years because Perry won't score anymore. As great as your neighborhood is and your community is, the score is gonna go flat. And you could either get two this year, or you can get one. If you get one, your scoring is gonna go flat. So you will not have these discussions for the foreseeable future. I am very sure to make that prediction. That's just been the trend. That's what happens.
Randy Shima with Meridian Development. I do want to make a statement here. Please know that we're required to do a full market study on this project development. So, and where I'm going with this is that market study comes back and it's quote unquote too many units out there of portable. It's over. But we have run a preliminary market study, and we have found that this particular area is in need of affordable housing. And I think that Sven was actually pinpointing that in the fact that it's not going to be something we're overbuilding in this area. I think it's well needed. And our preliminary market study showed that. Henceforth, the reason we're here. Last thing we want to do is have a situation where we can't stabilize the project. You know, so if this development, you know, we don't have the people to fill it, then there isn't any reason to build it. You know. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
My name's Jason McKee. I'm a little off guard by all of it, I guess. I didn't hear about this till Friday. I guess the only reason I got a phone call about it was because Rich and Judah Samish were down in Florida and they're calling me because we all have adjacent property. speaking on this West Third property. And they had more questions than I could answer. They also mentioned the letter that they received had a phone number that they couldn't get a hold of anybody on. I don't know anything about, I haven't seen said letter. So that's just kind of a note on that. The West Third property, and whether good or bad, but it is in the middle of commercial. Brett was up here, obviously, part of my property backs up to it. I hear the old Mark Seed, Accujet, whatever you want to call it, may or may not be sold. That's a rumor mill, I don't know. I'm assuming that's gonna be another commercial property again. Which kind of comes back to the fact of we want apartments next to commercial property. You know, there are going to be complaints. And it kind of sounds like there's two, what's the third project? That no one alluded
It
to.
would be by Perry Park Apartments or Perry Park Avenue, right on 16th and 141.
Okay.
And that's already zone multifamily residential, which is why that's not
Oh,
crossing the desk of P and Z or
anything, because it's already zoned correctly. So right now, there's 3 potential spots already. For
3 proposals. Yep.
proposals.
That we know of.
That you know. And then there's another developer that has something on it. I know it's not changing zoning. Has that been submitted to the state, like these 2 gentlemen here?
None of them have been submitted to the state,
Or-
but we're only aware of the 2 developments discussed tonight and then Berry Park Avenue development. Those are the 3 that we know of.
Okay.
Are you talking about other conversations?
No.
Okay,
Nope, just
I'm
the,
just trying to, trying
Yeah.
to, same page.
yes, same page. The third one we haven't heard anything about is already zoned correctly.
Correct.
And that's why we haven't heard anything about it. Okay. As far as. So if they get rezoned. And then you briefly touched on it. Particularly the West Third one that has commercial buildings on it and it's in storage. Then the gentleman that owns it, the development never happens. He's stuck with getting it rezoned back for him to sell it. Because no one's gonna buy it as a residential lot to put a house. I mean, or I don't know.
He could, the owner could request it.
Request it, okay. And that should be up to him on what he wants to do.
As far as the request goes and what to
Request it back.
rezone it to, I mean, that request could be back to light industrial or commercial. The request could be whatever he
Because the
chooses.
current property owner obviously only cares about the rezoning because he's gonna sell it to somebody else. Otherwise,
Probably. I think the real estate agent sitting back there, I don't know if he's had other conversations or not. I'm gonna pick on you, Manny.
okay. Okay, so tied back to that, okay. As far as the West Third. I don't know, Great Eyes, is that a retention pond then? Is that what we're doing on the top?
Proposed, yeah.
'Cause
And
I-
this is just, what probably the DOT staff and engineers would call a Sven with crayons type, very, conceptual drawing.
Okay.
We haven't gotten, they haven't gotten and won't until, they would be awarded like detailed site plan and, engineering, so.
So it hasn't gone any farther than that, because obviously
this
that
is- I mean,
property is low.
Right.
Correct. And
And-
that was a topic at the P and Z meeting, so. That's all up to them when it comes to, their due diligence on the property as far as. Potential floodplain, which I don't remember, I don't think it is, and then, having to bring in fill or level the site, anything like that. That's all part of the site plan process that would happen if they would choose to, if they're awarded and or choose to move forward with building something.
Because obviously,
Detention ponds are required
Yeah.
on multifamily
And
they are,
dwellings.
okay,
any,
Stormwater retention
because
is
all the
basically
water
what it's called.
would go obviously towards the park.
so,
Just currently the lay of the ground, if
Yeah.
you would make that all concrete.
Yeah.
Ball field is.
Well, multifamily residences now are required to provide water
Okay.
and
retention.
that's any development.
Any development.
Light industrial, I will put an asterisk with that, specific to this site, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And
If you paved the
Jake-
whole thing, you'd have to have stormwater retention.
I don't see Jacob anymore, but there have been instances along the Frog Creek corridor with development like Willis Avenue Apartments, the Sallyport, things like that, that we have not required stormwater detention because we actually want that water to flow
Frog Creek.
out more quickly so that when the rest of the west half of town water gets through the stormwater system, that water is already flushed through, so it's a very minute detail, but there's an asterisk of whether or not this would have stormwater detention.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's for the engineers.
Yeah.
It's for the.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, Sven. Jake texted me and said that he was having technical issues, so he wasn't able to get back in. But if you need more information, just reach out to him. Also, I hope you enjoy my my Zoom avatar.
That is very fitting for your history
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We'll readdress that on your agenda item.
Sounds good.
Jason?
Does on the West Third property, and I'm like I said, I'm way behind on this, since it's surrounded by commercial, does it come into spot zoning? Seems odd, drop in something residential still.
So there's residential, I think the park would be zoned residential duplex, just because we don't have a parks zoning.
Can I expand on a couple things? Just, I know Jason, you have
Yeah.
some extra questions, but I want to follow back on some things that you had said earlier so we don't get lost in it. I did send a letter out to all the abutting property owners within a 200-foot radius of this site. I do believe the address that was tied to the property that you own was to a Granger address. So if you do not live there anymore, I would ask that you update that with Dallas County. That is where I get my addresses on where I send my letters, is to the property owners and what their property is tied to, under kind of like their tax related identification. So if you do not live at that Granger address anymore, I would just ask that you update that with Dallas County. And Judah Samish did call. She called Susie, I believe, on Friday. I called her back that Friday, or I believe on Thursday, and then I called her back on Friday. She did answer the phone and said that she had another call coming in and would call me back, and she did not call me back. So I did not get any comments on what her stance was for this specific project. In regards to spot zoning, it would be considered spot zoning if it wasn't complementary to the comprehensive plan. So if the comprehensive plan was saying that this needed to stay light industrial or be rezoned to like heavy industrial, and we were zoning it to high density residential, that would be considered spot zoning because we were picking and choosing what we decided it based on kind of our own I don't know, agendas, I guess. But because the comprehensive plan does say that this area is complementary to high density residential, it wouldn't be considered spot zoning. And I do believe that, Sven, what you were saying is the park right now is zoned residential duplex, which is kind of odd. I'm looking at us creating a park land use district because it doesn't really make sense for your park to be zoned residential, but that is how it is currently sitting on our map with the adjacent baseball field.
Questions. It was more of just comments, I guess. So the community building that was talked about, I guess, is that for people that just live there? I'm confused on the partial. Maybe community building. Community center. Yeah. So it's for.
The place with them. Where can you come in and join me? Like a party room. Offices.
Not laundry in the unit.
Yeah, a lot, doesn't mean a lot. But just in the activity center as general.
Okay.
Space.
And it's for the comp. You should look at it. Okay. That's what I assumed. What was the sewer easement? Possible, it got brought up and
We have a sewer line that runs through the property.
okay,
From yours.
yeah, probably.
I think,
Actually, it would go through sandwiches back to the Dollar General. There's a great big animal back there.
You put sewer on.
Okay. So that's just part you can't
We
build on.
won't build structures on
Oh,
it, but we can build.
It's not built. Okay. Alright. You said, this is kind of a side note, but we're now using 2023 building code.
I believe so.
We are currently under 2018, but we'll be updating to 2024 later this year. And probably by the time that this project pulls permits, will be adopted under 2024.
How often do they update building codes?
I
Doing yearly?
think
Mm,
IPC is every 2 years. And
yeah,
then
I'm not sure historically how we have done it. But I
believe
know
before-
20,
Yeah, I believe before we adopted the 2018 building code, it was the 1995 building code.
Everything's engineered. Word line. Third.
Well, and it's not always this, I guess, and JC kind of brought it up, you know, not what it's like to start with. What do we want it to look like in 20 years?
Right.
Or 30 years, and whether you're still managing where it's moved on. So, obviously, you're here to make money, so at some point, you're gonna make some money, and at some point, it's gonna be sold. Some point. None of us will be here. Some point, we won't be here, so what are we leaving it to on the next generation, I guess?
Speak for yourself.
I think that's all I have, unless someone had a question for me. Jeremy, you didn't have any questions? Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
I will
Thanks, Jason.
reserve my time for questioning to another time.
Anything else on this? Okay, well, we'll close that public hearing. And we'll move on to old business. I would request permission to change the order of the agenda items because we had Miss Jennings on the line for the last hour and 20 minutes for one item on the agenda. So I would like to move item B up before item A if it's okay with the
That's
council.
fine.
You,
Okay. B and C. Okay, so Item B is approval of revised GAX number 16 for the CDBG contract number 24 HSG 004. It's originally to the council on December 15th, 2025, and for the amount of $14,112, but some changes in the regulations say that if one payment is outstanding, they cannot process another one. And so instead of having two in the queue, that we want to combine both of those into one contract for the grand total of $34,732. So I will take a motion.
I move that we approve the revised GAX number 16 for CDBG contract number 23-HSGU-004.
I'll second that.
Okay, Carla, would you like to give a better explanation than I did?
That was a fantastic explanation. I'll have to see if you're higher. So, and I'll just hold on tight till you get through the amendment in case anybody has any questions, okay?
So, any questions for Carla on this one? Okay.
Nope.
And we'll have a roll call, please.
Molly,
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Yes.
And then item C is resolution approving amendment number 1 to the CDBG Upper Story Housing Contract Grant Contract 23 HSGU 004, going from February 28th, 2026 completion to a May 31st, 2026. Mainly because all three of the units need to be rented before they can be, the project can be closed out, and they're in the process of being rented as we speak. So we have a motion, please.
Make a motion, we approve resolution amendment number 1 to the CDBG Upper Story Housing Conversion Grant Contract 23-HSGU-004.
Any questions on this one, Carla, or anything? Okay, roll call, please.
Molly.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Carla.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll go back to item number A, and it's a resolution taking additional action on general obligation loan agreements, binding loan agreements, setting the date for sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, series 2026, and authorizing the use of preliminary official statement in connection therewith. This is for the 2 bonds that we had public hearings on earlier with no comments. So could I have a motion, please?
Motion. Combining loan agreements, setting the date.
I'll second.
Any discussion? And Susie, any comments?
We're
Been
funding a
going
lot of
through this for a
stuff,
while, so, yep,
and hopefully we'll get a good rate.
okay. No other comments? We'll have roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to item D. Get to it. Okay, approval of proposal for DGR Engineering Professional Services. They are working to give us an independent review for the FAA of the taxiway project. So could I have a motion, please?
Proposal with DGR Engineering for Professional Services in order to receive federal funding through the FAA that they require an independent estimate to perform in accordance with FAA Advisory Circular 150/5100-14.
I'll second that.
So just like pretty much, if not every single one of our design contracts with Bolton Mink, we have to have an independent fee estimate and then provide both of those to the FAA for approval to make sure that Bolton Mink is not overcharging us. Which they never would anyways.
Unless
Right, Garrett?
That's
Unless-
right, Sam. That's right. I guess this just one thing. So this is for both design and construction of the 1,500-foot extension. So we develop a scope with no fee, provide that to yourself, and then there's a couple different ways to do an IFE, but this is by far the simplest. So just hiring an outside consultant to review the scope, and then they put their hours to it, develop their own fee, and then as long as we're within 10% of we as in Bolton the Maker within 10% of what that independent fee comes back at, then we move forward with the overall approval of the scope, and then get FAA's buy off as well. So any questions or anything?
Yes, I will mention at this point, you'll turn your attention to Garrett's icon. Garrett has received an immense amount of razzing, both from city staff and coworkers about the last incident when he was on Zoom with the cat in the background. So do appreciate Garrett and his humor with.
I could not escape it, so I might as well embrace it.
I sent him so many cat memes after that.
Further questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Andor,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, item E is approval of a proposed amendment number 1 to the service agreement with IMEG. For resolution 100625F, we entered an agreement so that they could review JBS and ADR drawings. We would like to engage them to review some of the elementary school drawings in that they have some security and fire and electrical issues that our staff is not comfortable with reviewing. They gave us a cost not to exceed of $6,700 to do this for us. And we are looking at the possibility of just putting a general services agreement together so we don't have to come to council each time we want to do one of these. So could I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve a proposed amendment number 1 to the services agreement with IMEG.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mayor explained it all pretty straightforward, but with all of the projects going on and kind of the complexity of some of the fire suppression, electrical, things like that, we wanted IMEG to check that out. And then, as the mayor mentioned, we're looking at doing just a regular on-call services agreement with them, just like we have with Bolton Mink or EOC, things like that, that we would not have to come back to council every time to have them.
And they would provide a fee schedule
Yep.
based on the.
Yep. So either probably typically annually, EOC usually annually sends us a new rate schedule that corresponds with that contract.
Okay. Sounds good.
That piece is for future meeting. For the elementary.
Comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein. Yes. Andor,
Yes.
Okay, move on to new business. Approval of a services agreement with Safe Buildings LLC. We use them occasionally to help us with inspections of buildings and when we either can't get to them or are beyond our staff's expertise. So I have a motion, please.
Make a motion, we approve service agreement with Safe Buildings LLC.
Discussion.
So very similar to everything we just talked about with IMEG. We've been using Safe Building for quite a while, both with and without a building official from in between times. So they've been good to work with and are always nice to have on call to be able to help with inspections or anything that Sparky would need.
Do they primarily do electrical or what?
I think right now, primarily electrical. I think if there would be something that would be outside of Sparky's comfort zone as far as making a call on, that's when you would have them come and look at something too, or advise them on the phone, stuff like that.
Okay.
The discussion. Roll call, please.
Molly,
Yes.
Klein, Mahler,
Yes.
Tanner,
Yes.
Okay, on to ordinances. Item A is the first reading for the ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 165 zoning regulations. And this is to rezone from agricultural district to light industrial district of the property out at the industrial park. It was a 3-0 vote per the January 16th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And we held a public hearing today. So this is the first reading. Can I have a motion, please?
Okay, make a motion that we pass the first reading for the ordinance amending a Code of Ordinances, Chapter 165 zoning regulations for Semperfi's project.
Second that.
Need any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Molly,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein, Tanner,
Yes.
Okay, item B is first reading for an ordinance
Now I
amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 165 zoning regulations. Egg district to residential multifamily. It was voted on a 3-0 vote during the Planning Commission meeting on January 13th, 2026. And we held the public hearing today. And this is the first reading. So could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass the first reading for an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 165 zoning regulations for the project out by the detention ponds.
Second that.
One piece of this rezoning, in the design process and land acquisition process for the wetland project, it started out as just kind of that piece of the triangle, but then with further engineering of how much wetland we needed, we would have needed to use more of that property. So we kind of took a little bit of a step back and looked at that property compared to other adjacent properties and identified the Peters property, which is behind Super 8. So with what's remaining of that Stuckenholtz property that we did not purchase, we really looked at that piece and the remaining portion as the most developable piece of property. So we didn't want to take up more of that property that is more developable. And that's why we went to that other piece behind Super 8 and then connected the two. So in the big picture, there was purpose and thought into how much of that Stuckenholtz property we purchased, and leaving that, rest of the property that sits higher and is more developable, has good access to utilities, as a whole piece in itself.
That's a nice property.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Molly,
Yes.
Tanner,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein.
Okay, and then item C is the first reading for an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 165 zoning regulations from light industrial to residential multifamily, the property on West Third. It got approved at Planning and Zoning by a 2-1 vote for their January 13th, 2026 meeting. And we had a public hearing on that today, and this is the first reading. Any further discussion required? Okay, may I have a roll call, please? Motion.
I would just ask that we kind of clarify for everybody here about first reading, second reading, third reading, so that we don't have to answer those questions.
Okay, so first reading, 3 readings required. We can move to defer.
So you can, so
Suspend, yeah.
the ordinance requires 3 readings. The council can, underneath their rights, waive the rules and hold. That is why you see now, they say first. And that means that I have published on the agenda that the council is going to do their action. Now, when it comes to second and third readings, sometimes you guys will hold the second or waive the rules and hold the second and third reading together. historically we'll see on the agendas, it's published as second flash possible. So tonight would only be the first reading. There's a possibility at the next council meeting, depending on how the mayor directs me. And then, which the next council meeting will not be on a Monday, it will be on a Tuesday because of President's Day. There's a possibility that you would hold the second and third reading. All depends on how you guys vote it out. I could put it on the agenda that way, and you could say, no, we're not gonna waive the rules, we're gonna hold all 3 readings, or waive the rules and hold second. That clarify?
Are you telling me? I already knew that. I just wanted them to know
Yeah.
that.
So nothing will be approved until possibly the next meeting and possibly the second meeting.
I just wanted some clarification
Yep.
for everybody that's here.
First meeting in March.
For the application, but even if you guys were to do all 3 readings at the separate meetings, it would still meet the
their-
deadlines for their application.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking for that. So we need a motion.
I move that we, the ordinance first reading tonight for amending the code ordinances, chapter 165 zoning, to build this from industrial to
Have a second. Okay. Being no
I will
action.
second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, we need a roll call then.
We'll just- Every agenda packet, we always have open forum for the public to invite for treatment. As well. For those that can-
We encourage that.
Yes. If there's obviously.
Roll call.
Andor,
yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein.
Being no further agenda items, we will adjourn. Thank you everyone for coming in and hanging with us for this long.